Hey, good people, it's Yvonne, the motivated man from Determined Women of Destiny. You know, this is the show that gives you the business, the good, the bad, and the beautiful of female entrepreneurship, providing inspirational motivation. From time to time, I come to you with special editions. This is probably going to be my most favorite today special edition. I am meeting with Juliana Gutierrez and Joshua Anglero. And if you know those two names from To Having to Hold from the OWN Network, absolutely, I have both of them with me today. And I say hello, thank you, and welcome to the show.
Well, hello, Yvonne, and thank you for having us. We're really excited to be here and be able to share our story with you and the world.
Wonderful.
Hello.
Now, Julie and Josh were married. And you're saying, right, okay, all right, they was married, big deal. But there's so many twists in this one. Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning. Now, if you haven't watched the show, Julie and Josh were married, had 2 children. Josh and Julie divorced, and Josh had his partner, who's a male, on the show, and all 3 of them co-parented. So we're going to start from the beginning, because I know my listeners, they like, girl, what? Yes. So we're going to start from the beginning. Josh.
Yes.
When were you aware that you were attracted to either the same sex or both sexes?
Well, I am bisexual, and I was aware of this probably more so in high school. I had met someone that I was really close with, that I had dated for quite some time. And we were young, and so things happen when you're young and you fall apart. You know, young love doesn't necessarily always last forever. He was a great guy, but I was brokenhearted by some situations. And so I decided to, at that point, just go back to school, focus on my life, my career at that point. And I was in my mid-20s. And so at that time, I felt as if being gay isn't right. Now, back then, we're talking, 2000, what year is this, Julie? 2005, right?
Yes, back sir. 2005.
Yeah. Yep. About 2005. So I was about 25 years old. So things are a lot different back then as it is today. And so at that point, I was, scared of things like HIV or STDs and all these other things. And I thought to myself, well, I should just not be gay. That was it. So I was in college and I met Julie. And I guess, Julie, you want to pick up from there, from the point where I met you?
I was just going to say, so you're in college now, yeah, and you meet Julie. Julie, were you aware that Josh was bisexual?
So I wasn't, when we first met, we actually met at Seton Hall. We were both students here, and we met at the library. And when we first started spending time together, I didn't know. But as things progressed, Josh was very honest with me. We were over in his apartment hanging out, and poor guy looked like he was petrified, and he said he needed to share something with me because he wanted to get a little more serious. So I guess to be, to be his girlfriend. Yeah. And he was like, okay, I have to tell you something. And I'm here thinking, because he's older than me, I'm like, oh my God, this man is married. He has kids. Like, what is happening?
Oh my goodness.
And instead, he told me that his ex, whenever we talked about his ex, we said, his ex, or my ex, we said ex. But then he gave me a name that was male. And I was like, was that her nickname? Like, what do you mean? And he was like, no, it's a guy. And it was hard. I was so grateful that he was honest with me, but it was too much for me right then and there. And I actually went to walk out because it was a lot. I really liked him. Josh is a great man, but it was a lot. And especially, we were young. So he asked me not to leave and to not Josh is really good with his words. The man is smooth. You got to give him that.
What?
And he was like, don't punish me for my past, like these are choices from my past. And now I know that that's not what I want. And I want to build with you. And, that was really smooth. And I was like, okay, I kind of like that. Well, I was like, let me think about it.
Okay. So you guys, come together and you're dating in college, and from dating, you decide that we're going to solidify this with a forever decision.
Well, right before that, the reason why I had told her was because I knew that if I wanted something real and something serious, there's no way that I can possibly give her my all without her knowing me all. And so I thought it was really important to tell her that, because I wanted to take the situation seriously. I wanted to be able to see where it goes. We were having great time spending a great time, hanging out, going to different places together. And I'm like, wow, this girl's pretty amazing. So I wanted to get serious. And that was the purpose of me telling her before we started dating that I'm bisexual.
So ladies listening, communication is key.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And honesty is the next thing. If you can't have a conversation that has honesty in it, don't continue. And I know I'm not a relationship coach, so before y'all start sending me all them comments, no, but this is life and this is true.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
So Josh, you were able to communicate with Julie. Julie, you were able to absorb that and say, okay, we're going to go forward. We're going to make a life. And that's what you guys did. You got married. And how many children do you have?
We have 2 beautiful girls, Angie and Rosie. They are 10 and 11 now. And we had Angie after 3 years of being married.
Right. So we enjoyed the dating scene. And we enjoyed being married before we decided to have children. 3 years in, and we started having children. There's a little twist there. Julie, you want to pick up on that?
I was going to say that they're really close together. Like how many months? What is it? 18 months apart, maybe?
Not even. They are both October babies. We got right back to work, huh?
Oh my goodness! So your 6-week checkup, you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprise. Just about.
Yeah.
That happened.
Oh my goodness.
And so we had found out, 3 years into the marriage, at some point we learned that we're better off as friends. And so we decided to separate. We said, okay, this isn't for us. Let's, stay friends. We had some challenges, but, we wanted to still maintain the friendship because we had such a wonderful friendship. And it was about a week after that decision that we find out that she's pregnant. And that's Angelina.
Okay, we're going to go to break. And when we come back from break, we want you to continue telling us about that journey with those 2 children that are back to back, and your decision to separate. So we'll be right back.
Joseph A. Slinger Haskell Funeral Service, Inc., located at 155 Sunrise Highway, Amityville, New York, 631-842-2788. We service the Amityville and surrounding areas, shipping foreign and domestic with cremation services available. With every service being catered to your personal needs, we here at Slinger Haskell Funeral Service will treat your family like it's our family. Again, we are located at 155 Sunrise Highway, Amityville, Long Island, 631-842-2788. Or visit us at slingerhaskell.com.
And you are listening to Determined Women of Destiny, powered by Rudy Radio. Hey, listen, you know what I always say? I thank you for listening, but if you're just tuning in, shame on you. You missed a whole lot. I'm talking with Juliana Gutierrez and Joshua Anglero, and both of them were stars on the OWN network to Having to Hold, and I have been fortunate enough, privileged, and honored to get the real story. You guys can watch it if you want to, but I have the real story. So once you watch the reruns or you continue with the show, just know Josh and Julie are telling you what really happened in their lives. And before break, we were talking about their two children who became parents back to back, two beautiful girls, and then they decided we might be better off as friends. So continue, Juliana, to let me know about that decision and how, that impacted you. And then Josh, you can let me know how, that impacted you also, because you guys came together, decided we're going to be married. We're going to be old rocking chair on the porch, drinking iced tea with our grandkids. But now you've decided 3 years in, that dream is not going to come true.
Right.
You know what's beautiful about that? I think that'll still happen. I think Josh and I will still be on that rocking chair. We'll still be having some iced tea, playing with our grandchildren, and it's going to be wonderful. And the best thing is that because we made the decision to be friends instead of staying married, we have the beautiful friendship that we have. And that is worth gold. I mean, that's worth more than gold, because our children get to enjoy us both being happy.
Right. And they deserve that. They were brought into this world and they deserve nothing less than their parents, no matter what. And adults, we all have to learn that despite our differences or our challenges, children are first, and they learn by example. There's so much that you can say to them, but to teach them is for them to see and to experience.
I'm so glad you said that, Josh, because, I'm on Facebook because my show's on Facebook, and I see so much back and forth, and I just want to jump in and yell and say, hey, people, it's not about him, it's not about her, it's about your children. So suck it up, buck it up, and deal. And I wish myself I would have learned that early on after my divorce, because my daughter may not have been so scarred. I myself, and everybody knows I'm very transparent, I was so hell-bent on her and everybody else seeing what a deadbeat he was that I didn't realize that I was scarring my daughter.
Right. Because at the end, they're the ones that feel it the most. I mean, everybody else can hear and see what a deadbeat this person is or how horrible that person is. But the only one that's going to really carry that burden throughout life is the child.
Right. And they're the ones that hurt. So, parents, let's get it together and let's do a better job. And Father's Day is coming up. Happy Father's Day, Josh.
Thank you.
Excuse me, single parent, mothers, I'm one. Father's Day is not for you. You have Mother's Day. Stop trying to take that day. Okay, I know you do both jobs. Okay, so then on Mother's Day, get 2 gifts. That's all I can tell you.
That's true.
At this point, come on, stop fighting for the day that's not yours. Okay, the father may not be whatever. We're going to let Father's Day pass, and we're going to celebrate those who need to be celebrated. Now, I also want to clear up some rumors. And a couple of rumors were, okay, well, Josh just married Juliana because he wanted children. And the other one was, their marriage was destroyed because Josh stepped out on Juliana with another man. So if both of you could speak to those 2 questions and just clear the funky air out with the truth.
Okay, let me start with the first one. So,
you do the first, I'll do the second. Go ahead.
Okay. So, of course, I wanted children. This is true. But I wasn't trying to just get her locked up just so I can have kids. So, we were married for several years. We enjoyed ourselves. We made the decision to want children together. And so that's what we did.
Okay. So you guys heard that, air cleared. Now, Julie, speak to the infidelity part, please.
So when Josh and I decided that we were better off as friends, and we then found out that we were pregnant with Angie, we had periods of time where we were on and off. When the marriage isn't working and there's children involved, I'm sure as many women know, you try to see if you can make it work, and that's what we did. Josh,
and
at
on
no
my side
point,
as well.
right?
Sorry, I just wanted to add to that on my side as well, because I had a lot of pressure too. Now that I was being a dad, there was some internal conflicts. Like my father wasn't always present. And I had some challenges with my immediate family, and also pressure. There was pressure from family and friends, like, oh, well, you have to be a dad, and fighting that internally, or even just the workplace, the stigma that goes with it. So it was trying to identify what was the right thing to do. Do we stay together? Do I just work this out? I'm a father now. This is my responsibility. This is what has to be done. I didn't understand that I can still be a dad without necessarily being married at that time.
And for me, I was petrified of being a single mom, because my mom was a single mom and I saw her struggles, even though she did an amazing job at trying to cover them up, you know? I didn't want to go through that. So I really tried to see if we can make the relationship work. But at the end of the day, you know, after being on and off for a bit, the truth is we weren't happy, you know, and our children deserve a better example of what a relationship should be. And we want the girls to grow up seeing us enjoy each other and enjoy each other's company, you know, as friends. And enjoy whatever relationship we're in, to give them an example of what love is. And we couldn't give that to them if we stayed together. So Josh and I decided to, you know, call it quits for real, you know, one last time. And it wasn't until we moved to North Carolina that he then got into a relationship. So Josh, you know, never stepped out on me. Josh was always honest from the very, very beginning. And it's one of the reasons, you know, why he's one of my closest friends and why I respect and I'm so grateful for him.
And why we can co-parent is because we both had that level of integrity, you as well, you know, about your feelings. And so when you have that level of communication and honesty and openness and transparency, and knowing that you're doing it not for yourself, but you're doing it because you have a life, another life that you need to care for, and you keep that focus, there's going to be things that you're going to share that's going to hurt, that you're not going to agree with. We're human. That's normal. That's natural. But you have to remember where your heart belongs. And if you have those children, it belongs there. They're the priority. And we both recognize that, and we both see that.
Okay, everybody knows I'm a church girl all day, every day. Amen. We could stop right
Amen.
here. Pass the plate. The sermon has been given. Yes, Josh. Yes. That was so well said. And that's from Dad. Okay? That's from a dad. So if there's any guys listening, you know, can you take a page? Just take a page and follow suit. You know, it's always about the children. So Josh didn't go into this marriage just to have kids. And Julie didn't agree to dissolving it because of infidelity. What do both of you think was the main reason for the dissolution of your marriage?
Jules, you want me to go on that, or do you want to start it?
Well, I think we both have different answers.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think for me, there are some fundamental differences between Josh and I, right? So the example that I had growing up with my mom as a single mom, I am extremely close to my family, and we spent a lot of time while we were married with my mom and my sister and my niece, you know, so all what I saw as kind of normal, you know, because it was what I grew up on or what I was used to, I didn't realize could also be harmful to the relationship. So that's part of it. And then for me, I think we started growing apart, and it was hard because we were so young. You know, I was 21, when we first got married. So there was still a lot of growing up that we needed to do.
Okay.
And on my side, because of the differences in our upbringing, I wasn't really close to my family. I was more of a loner. And so what I wanted to establish was a relationship just with her. And I just felt like I was married to her and her family. And that was really difficult and challenging. Now, don't get me wrong. Her sister's amazing. Her mom's absolutely the most caring person ever. It's just sometimes I feel like she cares a little bit too much and she can pull back. Now, that isn't necessarily wrong for everyone, but for me, I needed to be able to have this relationship and build on this relationship with her. And I could see and understand how she was, inclusive with her family. So it wasn't necessarily wrong of what she was doing. It just didn't fit. It wasn't working for our future.
Okay. All right. So the two of you decided that, you know what, we're going to make this work, but we're just not going to make it work together. And speaking to both of you, you definitely have a handle on the relationship after the divorce. So both of you are single. Julie, you dating?
I do some dating. I've had relationships since, since our divorce. But I think I focus a lot more time on my children and just enjoying life and my career and things like that. So that hasn't been the main focus for me.
Okay. And Josh, you dating?
Not anymore. And I don't think I want to at this point, not for a couple of more years. My kids are now 10 and 11, and they're at their prime where they're going to need me more than ever, especially when it comes to like dealing with school or just sort of figuring out who they are in relationships and things and whatnot. And we know that relationships are a challenge at best. So I want to be available for my children for the next couple of years to sort of be that support and focus heavily more on the dynamics between me and Juliana, on building a healthy friendship there and having some sort of example of responsibility on choosing the right type of partner and being that example. So I was dating, the last 10 years, and it was a bumpy road. I've learned a lot about myself during that time.
Josh, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you and fix that because Rosie's 10. So you're rounding up to 10, but that's why people think that you cheated.
Right.
It was 8 years. So.
Right. 8 years. I was dating.
Just to clarify, I don't want anyone to get it confused. Go ahead.
I was just rounding up how long up to 10, but it was 8 years. Okay. And so, during that time, I had to figure out, well, what's appropriate and what's not as it relates to my interaction with Juliana and the responsibility of being a dad and being an example for the girls. And, that was just, that can be seen on the show, To Have to Hold. And it was difficult. It was really, really difficult and unnecessary. Some of the things that I had to deal with or even go through in regards to that, because at the end of the day, I just wanted to be the best dad I can be. I want to be there for my girls. I love them so much. I'm so blessed to have them. My kids are super cool and awesome. And like I said, I'm lucky. I'm the lucky one to have Juliana, and I'm the lucky one to have my daughter Angelina Paris and Elizabeth Rose in my life. I don't know what I would do without all three of them. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because they have been, in so many different ways, just a solid rock for me.
That is so beautiful. And, when I was first talking to Josh, trying to schedule the interview, I just said, I'm so sorry. I can't do it this day. My daughter's menstruating and it's her first day and she's not doing very well. And I had a conversation with him like, what? My father was like, buck it up. You got to go to school. Let's go. And, you were so in tuned in that. So, that just lets me know what a great dad and how involved you are.
He's the best for sure.
In the life of his daughters. And, listen, any guys that knock on your door saying, I want to date either one of them, they're going to meet a pit bull, because Josh is going to be like, the old westerns where they have the dog, Old Yeller, that sits on the porch and rah, rah, rah. That's going to be Josh. Like, okay, what's your name? Who's your parents? Okay. What's your grades like in school? The poor little boy is going to be like 16 talking about, I got all A's. Well, why isn't it A+?
But you know what? I give this credit to Juliana. She has kept the kids in martial arts since they were 4 and 5. Is that correct, Julie?
Yep, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are some serious fighters, let me tell you. And they don't allow anybody to mess with one another. So they got this. So in some regards, they're my pit bulls as well.
They are well prepared. Well, we're going to go to break.
Yeah.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk about your experience on To Have and to Hold and what the future lies for both of you. Determined Women of Destiny is sponsored by Supreme Managed Business Solutions. We'll be right back. You make sure you come right back too.
Marguerite Bynum here, CEO of Supreme Manage. We are your strategic marketing and small business consulting firm. As a small business consulting firm, we provide owners with resources, advice, and planning designed to improve your organization's performance and efficiency. We assist businesses by identifying problems, implementing solutions, and reaching your goals. If that sounds like something you need, feel free to contact us at Supreme Manage on Instagram, and we will get back to you right away. See you then.
Yes, you are chilling with Yvonne, the Motivated Man, Determined Women of Destiny. I have, and I'm going to let them say their own names because I'm not going to mess it up. So please, Julie and Josh.
Yep. Juliana Gutierrez.
And I'm Joshua Anglero.
And if those names sound familiar, absolutely. You probably watched the show on OWN, To Have and to Hold. And they're right here with me. If you just tuned in, you're going to have to spin it back from the beginning because this show was everything. So before we went to break, was talking about, you dating, Josh, and, how you're not dating now. But on the show, To Have and to Hold, your partner was there. And all three of you co-parent.
That's right.
You were co-parenting. But that relationship is over. So just give me a little information about that show, how it ended, that your relationship ended, and where the two of you are going from henceforth.
Okay, well, it started off when I moved down here and I met my ex. We did a lot of events together, and he's more of a social butterfly than I am. And he just had a bunch of friends out there. And when we were producing some fashion shows and events, the public became very interested in our dynamic. Julie was a part of it, and so were the kids. And so I'm going to send you over some images and pictures. You're going to see us out there on stage and stuff. And
great.
People were just really excited about getting to know us more. And they had this misunderstanding, like Juliana had a child with me and then had Rosie with my partner. And that wasn't even the story. So there was just an interest there. The show, the producer was putting together in Charlotte, and there was someone that my ex had known. And basically they said, hey, we think that you guys would make a great addition to the show. We're looking for a gay couple, preferably with children. And so we went and we did the audition. I asked Julie if she was interested in being a part of it. They loved it. And that's how we were offered the opportunity to be on To Have and to Hold Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah. Julie, you want to add to that?
You covered all of it. That was so well said.
So now you're on the show and you're living your life, reality, and you're showing all of this stuff. And your partner is co-parenting. Your girls are interacting with your partner, and now your partner's gone.
Yeah, well, you see, he was in their lives since they were very young.
1 and 2.
Since 1 and 2, and so the kids have always known him as dad. I think even at one point they thought that they had the DNA of all three of us, so we had to clarify that with them.
Yes. That was an interesting science lesson.
Yeah, and I think that was covered on like episode 4 as well. But it was pretty interesting. So we had to just break it down to them, like, no, I'm biological. My ex is your step parent. But yeah, we were on the show known as The Modern Family, but there was some twist. And then, with reality TV, they're always throwing in some drama or this or whatever the case was. And
or a
so
lot of drama.
A whole lot of drama. And so there was just things that I wasn't prepared for. And I don't think Juliana was even prepared for when it came to like some of the storylines. And it really took us back. It shocked us. And so eventually I just had to make, after the show was over, some things came to light and I had to make a really hard decision that I couldn't continue with this. And it's unfortunate because on the show, I actually proposed to my partner with my children.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so the last thing I think anyone has seen is that he and I were going to be married. And it was such an awesome clip. I actually have it on my Instagram, and I love the clip to this day. I mean, it meant everything to me. Love him to death. I think he, was a very interesting man, a very talented individual. But as far as just our compatibility and how we sort of see the future pan out, it just wasn't for us. And so I had made the decision to say I cannot continue. And I basically just stopped at that point. It's still a little difficult to speak about, but that's where I'm at.
Okay, so To Have and To Hold is finished for both of you. What's next?
What is next?
Well, I think we definitely continue to work on our relationship, maintaining a good, happy, and healthy friendship, which is for us a priority because it's the example that we get to give the girls. And by prioritizing it, the girls get to really experience the world, not just with mom or just with dad, but they really still get to enjoy both parents. I'm still in New Jersey. Josh just left. We were in New York City 2 days ago, hanging out as a family together.
In cosplay.
In cosplay, because that's what the girls wanted. And I love that the girls get to build and create all these memories with both their parents. And I think the future just has a lot more of that.
Okay. So you're in New Jersey and Josh, you're in North Carolina?
Yes, I'm back in North Carolina now.
Yeah, and we'll be there by the end of the week.
Okay.
By the end of next week.
So you guys just travel back and forth on the regular?
We do a lot of traveling. We're just here visiting on vacation. Angelina just graduated 5th grade. So she wanted to come up from New York and my best friend's baby shower. And since Josh's birthday just passed, I said, Josh, we got to come up so we could celebrate your birthday too. And we did. And it was awesome.
Well, happy birthday, Josh. Happy birthday, Angelina. And happy Father's Day again.
It was by far one of the best birthday experiences I've had. Just to be dressed up with the children in those costumes and walking around New York City and just having a blast. And Julie was there too. It was just great. And we posted some of those pictures as well on our social media.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I know both of you rightfully have like really great careers. Julie, let us know what you do, how we can contact you.
I'm an IT project manager, and you can contact me on Instagram. My handle is IamJulesQC. Okay, and Josh?
And I own a technical firm. We do web development marketing. There's a team of about 7 of us. And I can be reached too on Instagram at Mr. MR Anglero, ANG as in Gary, LERO, Mr. Anglero.
Great. Well, I want the two of you to just give my listening audience some words of encouragement, tips, wisdom about love, life, relationships, or whatever you would like to before I end this show, because I think the two of you have, if we have not heard it, then we're deaf, that relationships can work, relationships can end, and relationships can last. So Julie, give us some tips.
Absolutely. I think as a woman, it is sometimes hard to put a pride aside, but I think trying our best to build the father of our children and contain and maintain a happy and healthy relationship is super important. And I know that that's not everyone is as fortunate. You know, I have friends that unfortunately can't do that But if you can, absolutely put that as a priority because it's best for the children. I think for women to put yourselves as a priority to be better and work hard every day and do what makes you happy. Take time for yourself because as a mom, we can get very caught up in parenting and giving to our children and not enough to do for ourselves.
Okay, great. Now, Josh.
And for all the men out there, patience. You have to have patience because you also have to recognize that not only are you going through certain situations, but so is that woman in your life. They are going through a lot as well, and they may not say or act or do the certain things that you hope or expect, in regards of collaboration or communication. But you have to maintain patience, and you have to demonstrate as well, lead by example, and communicate open and honestly, and just let them know. Julie and I have had several different situations where we clash, and I would come to her and say, look, this isn't going to help anything. This isn't going to make anything better. This is just going to make it worse. Let's take our time. Let's go to our corners. Let's breathe this out. Let's chill out and then come back and let's talk about this so that we can actually make progress and have a resolution. And the more you do that, the more you're going to reinforce and show and make them feel secure. And then you're going to have a better relationship, both for your children and just with the person you're with.
Well, Josh and Julie, thank you so much for being on Determined Women of Destiny. You have given us so much insight and information. To my listeners, as I always say, keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets